Hadrian's Wall by Reginald Twiddlebottom. Chapter 1. Arrival at Vindolanda. The sun began to set over the sprawling landscape of Vindolanda, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple. Marcus Vitulus, a young engineer from Rome, stood at the edge of the settlement, casting his gaze upon the silhouette of Hadrian's Wall, a colossal structure that cut through the rolling hills like an ancient scar. The journey from the heart of the empire had been lengthy, filled with weeks of navigating treacherous seas and traversing unfamiliar terrain. Still, Marcus's mission was clear. He was tasked with the design of an innovative system for communication along the wall, a task that carried both honor and responsibility. The Roman settlement buzzed with activity as Marcus made his way through streets lined with stone buildings and bustling markets. Soldiers clad in their iconic tunics and helmets marched past him, while merchants haggled loudly over fabrics and produce. The smell of spices and freshly baked bread permeated the air, creating an intoxicating blend that reminded Marcus of home. But this was no leisurely visit. As part of his assignment, Marcus was to report to Gaius Flavius Aquila, the centurion in charge of the wall's southern fortifications. A formidable figure, Gaius had earned his reputation through a series of successful campaigns against the Caledonian tribes, and Marcus knew he had to prove his competence in this alien land. "Marcus Vitulus, I presume?" A voice cut through the din as Marcus approached the headquarters. The voice belonged to a stern-faced man in his middle years, his armor polished to a shine, the plume on his helmet catching the waning light. "Yes, Centurion Flavius. I've been sent by the governor to assist in the communication improvements," Marcus replied, extending his hand. Gaius eyed him with an indiscernible expression before grasping his hand in a firm shake. "Welcome, Marcus. You're just in time. Reports from the Northern Watch Point suggest increased activity from the tribes. We need all the aid we can get." As Gaius briefed Marcus on the current situation, stresses and nerves began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of purpose. The tribes beyond the wall, the warlike Caledonians and other Celtic peoples, had long resisted Roman incursions. Their skirmishes were a constant threat, yet there existed an enigmatic respect between them and the Romans, as both shared a fierce attachment to the land. That evening, Marcus found himself continuing to study scrolls detailing the wall's current infrastructure. His mind wandered to the logistics of such a massive edifice. Soldiers patrolled the length of the wall. Signal fires and flags were used to convey messages. However, inclement weather and the cover of night often rendered these methods ineffective. As the camp settled for the night, Marcus wandered towards the remnants of an old turret at the edge of the encampment. The structure stood battered and weathered from the elements. It was here, hidden beneath stones upturned by time, that he stumbled upon the scrolls. Their writings were strange, the symbols curving and looping in patterns he had never seen. "Will our empire's great wall also keep its secrets from us?" he murmured, as a gentle breeze carried the whispers of history through the leaves. Little did Marcus know how these enigmatic scrolls would unravel ancient mysteries and intertwine his fate with that of Aeliana, a woman who carried the blood of both the land's ancient tribes and its conquerors. Chapter 2. Aeliana's Gift. The walls of her modest home were lined with coils of herbs and wildflowers, their scents mingling in the air, a kaleidoscope of nature's perfume. Aeliana, with her striking dark hair and eyes that sparkled with intelligence, moved deftly between them, fingers a blur as she wove intricate patterns into a piece of fabric. Aeliana was no ordinary woman of her tribe. Her father, a former Roman centurion, had settled in these lands, caught by the allure of the verdant valleys and the quiet wisdom of its people. And it was here that he had found love and a sense of belonging among the Celtic tribes. The door creaked open, and her mother entered, her face etched with the marks of time and experience. "Aeliana," she said, her voice soft but resolute, "I need you to go to Vindolanda. There is word from the high priestess of the Caledonians that tensions are rising. We cannot let misunderstandings breed conflict." Aeliana nodded, her thoughts a swirl of worry and determination. She knew these lands better than most, her journeys often taking her to places forbidden to many of her tribe. The ancient stories and legends whispered through the rocks and trees, tales of spirits and forgotten deities who protected the earth. May I seek Luath's guidance, mother? Aeliana's voice was almost a whisper, betraying the weight of the responsibility she felt. Her mother nodded solemnly. The earth knows its children, and Luath's spirit has always been one with the land. May his wisdom guide your path. Luath had been a revered druid, his teachings a blend of natural science and the mysticism of Celtic tradition. Though he had passed on, his legacy lived through his disciples and through the guidance he still offered to those open to his wisdom. As Aeliana prepared for her journey, her mind wandered to the legends that her father used to tell her, a melding of Roman tales of valor and the Celtic myths infused with magic and destiny. It was these stories that shaped her, giving her the unique perspective she would need for the days to come. Chapter 3: Crossing Paths. At the break of dawn, Aeliana set off, the morning air crisp with the promise of rain. She moved swiftly across the landscape, her path taking her through dense groves and over open moors that hummed with unseen life. Her destination was Vindolanda, where the Romans held their tenuous grip over the region. As she approached the outskirts of the settlement, the scent of campfires reached her before she saw the great Roman outpost. The imposing structure of Hadrian's wall loomed in the distance, an ever-present reminder of the empire's reach into her homeland. Her heart quickened slightly as she entered the settlement, weaving between soldiers and laborers who gave her curious glances, unaccustomed to seeing a local woman in their midst. It was there she encountered Marcus, who was deep in conversation with a group of legionaries about reinforcing the northernmost turrets. His eyes, a striking blue, met hers as she approached, curiosity flashing across his features. "You seem far from home," Marcus remarked, noting the distinct weave of her garments, an undeniable testament to her heritage. "I am," Aeliana replied, her voice steady, "but my journey has led me here." She hesitated before adding, "I may have knowledge that could aid your mission." Marcus studied her for a moment, sensing a depth beyond her calm exterior. "If you have information, you are welcome. The tribes beyond the wall pose a constant threat. Understanding the land could prove invaluable." As the day wore on, Aeliana shared what she knew of the northern terrains and the habits of the tribes. In return, Marcus showed her the scrolls he had discovered, hoping her understanding of Celtic culture might shed light on the cryptic writings. Her brow furrowed as she traced the unfamiliar symbols with her fingers. "These are not mere words, they're runes, ancient and powerful. This language predates even our oldest legends." She paused, glancing at Marcus with a new sense of urgency. "There are places in the north that are sacred to my people. If these scrolls mention them, it may change everything we think about this land." Chapter 4: Unraveling the Past Together. Marcus and Aeliana embarked on a journey to decode the scrolls, venturing into hidden libraries within the Roman settlement and seeking the wisdom of the elders in allied tribes. As they delved deeper into the past, discovering more about each other's cultures and histories, a bond began to form between them, one built on mutual respect and an understanding that transcended their backgrounds. The more they learned, the more they uncovered about the wall itself. Certain sections were deliberately left weaker, unreinforced, and more susceptible to attack. The scrolls hinted at agreements between some tribe leaders and Roman officials, a balance forged on fear and respect to keep the peace. Yet, there were whispers of a sacred energy beneath the earth, woven into the very stones of the wall, a force that, if harnessed, could tip the balance of power. In their search for answers, Marcus and Aeliana learned of the Brotherhood of the Oak, a secret society committed to preserving the magical essence of the land and ensuring the balance between the native tribes and Roman occupiers was maintained. The Brotherhood had infiltrated Roman ranks, influencing construction efforts to protect certain realms thought as hallowed by Celtic spirituality. These hallowed realms were entwined with legends of the old gods and guardians appointed by the earth itself. Chapter 5: The Wall's Legacy. Over time, Marcus and Aeliana found themselves caught in a delicate dance of secrecy and discovery, their quest for knowledge becoming a rallying call for cooperation rather than conflict between their peoples. The growing alliance spread hope that both could coexist, with shared truths and respect guiding the way forward. In a secluded ceremony at the base of Hadrian's wall, among a gathering of Romans and Celts. Marcus and Aeliana shared the knowledge from the scrolls, a shared history woven into the fabric of the wall itself. It was a tale of conquest and coexistence, of ancestral spirits bound to the land, and the symbiotic relationship between the earth and its children, both native and foreign. Aeliana spoke in her melodic voice, recounting the stories of old, of mystical energies that warded off darkness, and the guardians who stood watch over sacred grounds. Marcus echoed her words, interpreting them through Roman logic and understanding, bridging the cultural divide with empathy and respect. With newfound alliances, the Brotherhood of the Oak emerged from the shadows, revealing their intentions to guide both Romans and Celts towards a future where the wall was not a barrier, but a shared monument of protection and unity. Members of the Brotherhood were unveiled, former foes turned allies, elders, soldiers, and priests alike dedicated to maintaining harmony. Chapter 6, Ties That Bind. As seasons passed, the borderlands saw transformations. Tribes retained their independence but engaged with the Roman settlers, exchanging goods, knowledge, and customs. Young Marcus and wise Aeliana became symbols of a new era where diversity was a strength and history a shared narrative. Though tensions sometimes flared, the groundwork laid by Marcus and Aeliana's efforts revealed pathways for peace beyond the wall's imposing stone facade. Their legacy was one of innovation, an insight of respect and understanding between disparate peoples, each seeking a foothold in an ever-changing world. Epilogue echoes through time. Generations later, children ran along the stones of Hadrian's wall, their laughter woven into the fabric of whispers carried by the wind. Where once it stood as a symbol of division, the wall had become a testament to resilience and the blending of cultures. An elderly man, a descendant of the bloodlines Marcus and Aeliana had once mingled, stood alone near Vindolanda in quiet reflection. His mind echoed with tales passed down through the ages, stories of heroes who had defied the odds to stitch together a fragile peace and looked beyond borders to the horizon. Closing his eyes, he embraced the silence, imagining the footsteps of those who came before the Roman engineer, who listened with an open heart, the Celtic woman who followed the whispers of her ancestors, and a brotherhood that had believed in the power of unity. As the sun dipped below the hills, casting long shadows over the land, he knew those stories continued to mold to molds of its people. The wall, once a monument of Roman ambition, now stood as a symbol of humanity's timeless quest to transcend its barriers and embrace the echoes of history. Hadrian's Wall, a bridge, a division, a remembrance, it was revered as an artifact of its time, an anchor cast into the shifting tides of past and present, rippling through the fields of memory.